Good evening. How are you?
Good
And
evening, good day.
it is 13 minutes past 9. We did very hard to get it a bit earlier.
That's quite a record for us.
It
That
is
is quite a record for
us.
us. That is before 15:15 and certainly before 20:15.
Yes, I even went into the page and said, "You're not betting today." Marion, thank you for your message. I haven't forgotten you. I'm going to try and message you back after the show.
He'll forget, I'll remind him. Sarah's here. Hello. Angela's here. Hello.
I had to remind you about something yesterday and I forgot. So I'm reminding you now.
Me?
Yes.
What
Saturday.
you're reminding me? Oh, yes. We'll say that in a minute.
It might be too late now.
No, I don't think so.
Might have to do it next week.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll ask our members, our Phoenix Warriors.
We'll ask the crowd.
Hello. Libby's here. Hello. Look, they're all piling in now. They're just coming to see if I wasn't drunk last night, by the way, everybody. Pierre, I might have looked it. I was I'd had not a not a drop of alcohol had passed my lips. I was thoroughly sleep deprived. That's what happens to Lindsay when she's working on just a few hours sleep over 3 days. Made it to the beginning. Poppy, she's here at the beginning. Hi, Poppy. Therese is here. Hello from Sweden. Hello. Angela, hello. Anne, hello. Stratford. Susan Garvin, hello. Lindsay, hilarious video in Benny Hill. Oh, no.
She forgot that was in there. That's my fault.
Oh, I forgot that was in there, Susan. Oh, yeah. I try every single time we do any workshop to stop him from putting that up, and it never works. I hate it. It's like note to future self. Note to future self. Don't do silly videos to the Benny Hill style because you'll regret it when you're a bit older. And I do. Very much so. Lydia, hi again, Lydia. I saw you on the HM page. Monica's here. Hello. Vivian, hello. Facebook user. Hi, Facebook user.
I don't even know who that is.
Oh, God. Sarah says, I watched the live again. It was funny. And Jenny Hapiri said to me, she was driving into Christchurch and she listened to it on the way into Christchurch again and listened to it again on the way back because she said, I just couldn't stop laughing. Oh, we should have a lot. Honestly, I didn't want to talk. I did not last night. I did not want to talk hooves. There comes a time in Lindsay's mind, in Lindsay's life, when she just doesn't want to talk hooves. I'd talked hooves all day. Gary and I had talked hooves all day. We'd been trimming all day. The day before, I'd been up till 3-4 o'clock in the morning doing work all about hooves, and the day before and the day before and the day before. And that night, just before we did our live last night, we did an hour and a half full on teaching, and I'd lost it. I couldn't talk about hooves anymore. Hooves, no. But I'm refreshed this evening. Anyway, I did manage to get the navicular thing in, even though it was the worst drawing you've ever seen in your life. But I did manage to get it in. Oh, God. Vivian says you're so early today. We can do it.
And we're going to talk about feet.
Yeah. Just dragged myself away from the 15-day challenge to come and join you. Can't wait to get back to it. I'm engrossed. You've been to how many workshops have you been to, Dawn? Oh, God. I don't know how you can do it. Honestly, I have to edit a lot of those videos. Well, Asha edits a lot of it and we edit them between us. And I get sick and tired of listening to my voice. I'm like, not again. Vicky, hello, Vicky. Sandra's here from Czech. Hello, Sandra. Karen's here. Wavy wave. Lisa's here. Hello. Charlotte, hello. You both need more sleep. It's not going to happen. I know, Dr. Scott. It's not going to happen. I can tell you that now. It's not. So my what do I do when I just keep going, right? And I go, it's 12 o'clock. I've still got at least a couple of hours left in me. 2 o'clock. Oh, I just finished this bit, 3 o'clock. I'm feeling really tired now, but just a little bit more. 4 o'clock, getting to the point now where I'm starting to feel a bit dizzy. And then eventually when I go to bed, I lie there like that. Please go to sleep. Please go to sleep. Please go to sleep. So I often put on my Audible and listen to some inspiring speech by somebody or a bit of fluff. And then I just somehow just nod off. I have to Tim told me to set timers on my Audible, which I do now, and that's great because it switches off because I'm always asleep. Emily's here. Hello. Emily's going through the challenge. I know she is, and I know a few of the others that are going through right now. What do you think of the challenges, Emily? Let us know. Jeanette's here. Hi, Jeanette. Jeanette's been around a while now. She's been right through the original courses. She's like, yes, I'm seasoned. I know what I'm doing. Sarah, what did you name the live for YouTube? I haven't yet. I haven't thought about it. I'm probably going to chop out that entire section and just put the bit up about navicular. I think that's probably what I'm going to do. But the lesson on balance. Angela, you like the lesson on balance? Hi, Poppy. See you soon. Oh, yeah, that's people saying hello. Oh, Susan. Oh, Poppy's coming to see you. Is she? Excellent. Hello from Taranaki in New Zealand. Did I say that correctly? Oh, let's not get on to words. That was last night. It was a great drawing. Oh, that's so kind of you. You're so nice to me, all of you. We know it wasn't. Dawn says 3, but it's just 3 workshops you've been on, but it's just like I'm doing another one. I miss them. Well, we've got lots more of us coming up that you can come and visit. The lesson yesterday was superb. Oh dear. What on the navicular, not the other bits. Here again for my daily hoof fix with a few laughs along the way. We did. Oh, look who's here tonight. Toya's here tonight. Hello, Toya.
Hi, Toya.
Dom cooking. Or is he cooked? Have you already eaten?
I had a chat with Dom today.
Did you?
He's doing good. He was in his sweet shop with his sweet making hat on. It was amazing.
Yeah. Dom and Toya, for everybody that don't know, here's Toya. Here she is, wave. Dom and Toya run a traditional old-fashioned sweet shop in North Cornwall in the southwest of the UK, and their season's just beginning again. But Dom has got some old-fashioned sweet making machines. Not that I've visited yet, but I will. And he's got some old-fashioned sweet making machines, and he makes all his own sweets, all those really clever ones, the ones that you see that have like little flags in them. And last year, oh God, they're so clever. And last year he brought some chili sweets. Oh, Toya, those chili sweets.
They were amazing.
They were incredible. I love that. So
and the fudge.
Oh, the fudge. I could just. Do you do vegan fudge? Can we have vegan fudge?
Don't be silly. It's made out of butter.
I know, but maybe you could do. Can you make it out of, margarine or something? Jenny says, "Lol, yeah, yes, best chop the laughs out of live, or they might come and take you away in a white van and you buckled up in a white jacket." I know, right? I need to just chop that out. People will just think I was just dreadfully drunk. See you soon. Susan Garvin says, Poppy, the haters will be saying the cult is cracked. Oh, they don't. Absolutely. They don't need an excuse.
They'll be saying we lost the plot.
I think they think we lost the plot years ago. Chili and lime, that's it. You do vegan fudge. Can you please ask Dom to put some vegan fudge aside and bring it to the training camp, please? Yeah, because Dom's one of our HMB pro students. Day 10, get on. Day 10, getting on. So, what countries do you work in? Well, considering everybody that's turned up this evening, we work all over the world. We because we're entering into your home right now, and you could be in Canada or Stratford, or you could be in North America, in another part of America, or in New Zealand, or in Australia, or in Europe, anywhere. We're coming into your lives. Next year, we've never taken our workshops abroad. Well, that's not quite right. We have taken them into France, but we've never taken them beyond France, Ireland, and the UK. So next year, we are planning our North America tour. So we're going to go around America. We're going to do 2 tours next year. Our world tour. We're going around North America. We're going to go to 2 or 3 stops around North America, around the United States, and then we're going to go hop into Canada, or we may do Canada first. I don't know which way we're going around. We're organizing it now, and then we're going to do 1 or 2 workshops up there if we can get enough legs, peeps. So ears to the ground. Where are we going to get legs from? And then another part of the year, don't know if we're going there first or not, we're off to Australia, and we plan on doing a couple of sessions, a couple of workshops in Australia, and then we're going to hop over to New Zealand. We are so excited. We can't tell you how excited we are that we're going to take our workshop on the road on our world tour. You are going to love it. If you can get to it, honestly, as you probably can tell, we do have rather a lot of laughs, but we do work hard. We work hard, but we do have a lot of laughs. Dom just made a vegan fudge. I saw it on Facebook. Ooh! See, they can do it. They can do it. Jeanette, you'll have to do an outtakes video. Yeah. Yes,
we do that a little bit in the pro training, just to lighten things up a little bit, and it's usually at my expense.
We do.
Yes.
I'll sort you out. Good. Thank you so much, Toya. Thank you, Dom. Thank you, Toya. My interview is coming up with you. Better find a hairbrush, lol. Yeah, look at mine. I have curly hair, naturally curly hair, and it's wild most of the time. Hi from Wisconsin. I think that's what WI means. USA, not Women's Institute. I think it means Wisconsin. Sounds an amazing road trip. Oh, it's going to be. We've already got people going, can I come with you and hold your bags, please? It's going to be good fun. Physical. I meant regular trimming clients. Legs are available here. Oh, good. Right. Let us know, Anne. If we haven't contacted you yet, then do get in touch, and we'll put our lovely Kathy in touch with you, who will talk about potential venues and legs, etc. We'll go where the legs are. Actually, we just will go, not where the venues are. We'll go where the legs are. That's our thing. Physical clients, we have them in France and the UK. So Gary goes back to the UK. I gave up all my physical clients in the UK because I don't go back to the UK to do physical trimming like that anymore. But we have clients in France as well. So yeah, so in the 2 countries, we span the 2 countries. And let me tell you, just like where you are, we all have the same problems all over the world. There's nothing different here than there is in the UK, than there is in Canada and the US, where there is in Australia. And everybody has the same problems. Everybody. And one of the biggest problems is professionals not understanding hoof care. And the moment that foot doesn't look quite normal, and how quickly that foot can get out of whack so fast. I haven't replied to her yet, Gary, but did you see the lady? Oh, I did reply. I asked her if there were more x-rays. The lady who put up her horse in those odd looking shoes, and one foot was very oddly shaped, wasn't it? Did you see that? So
yes, I saw it briefly.
What's one of the things we know that people do, Gary, when they have trouble with feet? They put a shoe on, and then it just makes it worse.
Yes, and I think the reason for that is because when the shoe goes on, it does seem to give to the human a little bit of relief.
Yeah, so they think they fixed it.
Just by visually, it says, "Oh my God, you've done that," and my horse is now much sounder than it was. But I have to say, it's always very short-lived. Mm-hmm. Very short-lived.
Pseudo sound is what we call it, don't we?
We call it pseudo sound, yeah.
And
if your horse ain't sound out of shoes, it ain't sound in them.
No.
It's just making them. It's making the battle worse.
Yeah, you've just stuck a load more problems on top. When's the next UK workshop? It is in June in Longmarsh in Somerset, southwest UK. Then in July we are in Gawsworth with Bethan, which is in Cheshire. And then we are in September. We're with Lee and Jane in Norfolk. Near Kings Lynn. We're just doing, I think we're just doing those 3. We may be adding on a Scotland one, but I'm not sure whether that is come to fruition yet. But we may add one, just chuck it in. If we don't get that one signed up real quick, we're not going to be doing it, because obviously we've got to get people on. We are excited here in New Zealand, commonly known as Down Under. Yes, we're going down under. Down Under. What was the name of the group?
Oh, well, the song Down Under.
What was the name of the group that sang Down Under?
Oh, I'm gonna have to look.
Come on, everybody. We're all old enough. Some of us are old enough to know that song. Who sang it? Poppy, that Shetland.
Who sang the song Down Under?
That Shetland trim. Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah. Oh, that one. Oh, I know what she's talking about now. Gary, she's talking about the Shetland trim with the outtakes. With Sam.
Down Under was Men at Work.
Men at Work. That's it. Men at Work. Men at Work. I can hear it in my head right now. Toy says, I'm really glad Gary cleared up the fact that I can let Tim's willy clean itself. Sorry, have I
It's not a private conversation.
Oh my God. It's like, who's Tim? Come on, Toya. Is this the right forum to be letting this out of the bag? Really don't want to be doing it. Let's not get onto willies, please. This is a clean show. There might be children watching. She spoke with my trimmer already, so excited. Who did? Who spoke with the trimmer already?
Kathy, about the legs. Come on, Lindsay, keep up.
Oh, I don't know what's going on. I just turn up. I'm the entertainment. I just turn up. Me and Gary. I don't know what's going on I don't know my arse from my elbow. Remember that saying? Arse from my elbow. I make my own vegan dark chocolate. I'll make you some for the May barbecue. Thank you. See what's all coming along now. Dark chocolate, vegan dark chocolate. Vegan fudge. I'll be sat there just in the corner going, can I have some of your fudge? No, is what I shall say. Can I have some of your chocolate? No. Is it possible to put a list of locations in the UK where you can source cadaver legs? My vet looked at me like I was mad when I asked if she knew where I could get one. Just message her. We'll talk to you about it. When we have our little interview. We'll explain that to you. We'll explain the intricacies of the leg, and it won't be sticking it in the post like yes, better not go there. Joe Tracy Kirk says it's really struggling with vets here in South Island, New Zealand, saying sack for trimmer, she's leaving. Saying sack the trimmer because she's leaving the toe, hoping some try to understand to leave the toe. The proof, I have to tell you guys, is in the pudding, because the horse is not bothered about it at all. In fact, it improves things. But we've got to be careful what we're talking about. They don't discern the difference between a long toe that's an overgrown toe or a long toe that's a balanced toe. They don't discern that. And what they need to understand is the damage it causes when you take it off. First and foremost, the reasons for taking it off are mythical. It is based on bogus science. I hate to say it, as much as they've spent millions and millions of dollars researching laminitis, we're still no closer to an answer, and they've been at it for decades. And they'll say it themselves. We're getting closer. What are you getting closer at? Because if you're studying supporting limb laminitis and you're trying to find out why some rotate and some don't, looking at the laminae, you're barking up the wrong tree. Start looking at the hoof capsule, because P3 is still attached, guys. You've been told it isn't. I'm telling you it is. And in supporting limb laminitis, what's happening with the supporting limb? How often does it get trimmed? And what's happening with the heels? If there are any vets watching this right now, researchers or not, I implore you to go out and look in your filing cabinets, which is now on our computers, isn't it? But you may still have some of the old films x-ray films, I implore you to go and have a look. Don't just go, she's nuts. Don't do that. Go and dig out your x-rays, because you're going to have some clients where you've got 2 or 3 x-rays, because we've seen them. So you'll get them. Go and dig out the x-rays, 2 or 3 x-rays, and I want you to draw around. Ow. I hurt my elbow then. I fell off my chair. I'm sorry, I'm injured.
Did you get your funny bone? It's not funny, is it? Why do they call it a funny bone?
I'm laughing.
It's because I can laugh out for you.
Okay, where was I? I implore you, right? Get a pen. Draw. Well, I mean, you put it on some, I don't know, put some paper over it. Draw around the hoof capsule. Do it on each x-ray. And then put those together and look at them. Or get on Canva and put one x-ray over the top of another and fade between the two. What will you see? Don't focus on P3 rotating. Focus on the hoof capsule, and it will tell you a huge, terrible story that the world has ignored for decades, which is hoof care caused that foot to rotate, that P3 to rotate. Nothing else. Nothing else. P3 is fit. Have you cut up a cadaver leg recently? Cut one up and see all the tissues that surround the connective tissue and everything that surrounds P3. I know you've been told that it all gets stretched. You go have a look, get hold of it, see if it'll move around of its own accord. See if it will move beyond the tip, the apex of the frog. It doesn't. I implore you, go back. If you want to prove me wrong, go for it, but you won't. But go and check your x-rays. Go and have a look. Go back and critically assess them. You will find a terrible story. Don't just look at those. Go and have a look at another client's and another client's and another client's. And then phone your mate up who's got an equine veterinary practice down the road and ask him to do the same. Then go to the pub, discuss it, watch my YouTube channel, and come back and have a word. Because you could be the vet that stands up and turns all this around. You could be that person. So come on down, come and meet us, because we're not nuts. Go, and the evidence is sat right in your equine practice. There you go, Joe. I've told him. Susan says, no. The main problem over the world is not professionals with closed ears. It's sourcing good mixed meadow hay without taking out a mortgage. I know. Dig in. Don't lose your resolve. Dig in. You can do it. I have a pony for 8 weeks. 2 top vets said, put down as she isn't getting better in shoes. Put to sleep is best thing. Oh. I took her 8 weeks now. She's doing great on track, grass-free. I did take a bit of toe before I met you guys, but haven't since. Thank you for your help. You're welcome. And Joe, you're just experiencing, if you're in New Zealand, you're experiencing the same as Penny Ann Gifford. Do you know Penny Ann Gifford? So she's in North Island. Am I right, Jenny? Jenny Hapiri, am I right? Is she in North Island? I can't remember which way. I think, I don't know. And Penny has the same thing. She's been doing this for years and years. And she said to me the other day, for the first time ever, she had an x-ray done on a client's horse. And for the first time ever, this female vet didn't utter the immortal words. Take the toe.
Chop the toe off.
Take the toe back. The toe needs removing. Chop the toe off. She said it was like, she stood there going, here it comes, here it comes, here it comes. And then it didn't happen. So she was like, pardon? That's incredible. You never said it. Is there a change I see in the winds? Are the trees rustling with the sound of don't take the toe off as Lindsay voice echoes throughout the forests of the world? Men at work. That's right. Got to be that far back. Oh my God. Men at work. Men without hats. Oh, was that a group? I kind of seem to remember that too. Men without hats.
Don't remember that.
Men at work. Sang down under. Yes. Yes. Everyone's laughing. He just smiled and gave me a Vegemite. Oh, yes. He just smiled and gave me a Vegemite sandwich. Don't, because that'll be rocking around my head for the next 2 weeks. What I'm doing when I'm lying there at 4:30 in the morning thinking you got to go to sleep, all I've got is music rocking around my head and going, shut up, Lindsay, shut up, Lindsay's brain. Shut up, Lindsay's brain. Agree. Thank you. I've done it now for you, Joe. Just tell him to come and watch this video. Ouch. Yes, it hurt. It's better now, though. It's my elbow. It's not laughing. If we're not doing the third gut installment, we're not going to do a third gut installment. Could you explain what ring bone? We've done the gut. If you want to know more about the gut, there's a lovely lesson in the 15-day challenge. Who did we have signing up today? I had a lady called Sarah, and we had Bonnie signing up. I think a couple of others did. They're new to it. They're like, "Ooh, I can't wait to get going." If we're not doing the third gut, yeah. So ring bone, maybe we could talk about ring bone. You're the first one to ask us to talk about something, so I think it's on the cards. So exasperating problem is worldwide. Same here in Canada. What, the meadow hay? I think that's what you're talking about. Hi, sorry I'm late. It's all right. Not missed much. We've just been going and saying hello. Yep, she's in North Island. Yes, I don't know where you are, Joe Tracy Kerr. Oh, Penny has helped me a lot over the last 2 years, my support lady. Oh, that's lovely to hear. And I've met her 5 years ago, been my rock. Brilliant. She's fabulous lady. Jenny and Penny, they're friends. Do you know, I knew Penny is Penny and Jenny is Jenny. And it wasn't till I wrote Jenny and Penny that I thought, oh, this sounds quite funny. Jenny and Penny. Jeanette says, I'm beginning to have PBS with my boys who see the problems with my boys who see the vegetation growing outside the fences. They are ignoring the hay and just try to nibble at, stop it. It's not that big, that one. And try to nibble at anything green they can reach. Anyone else have this problem? Is it normal and will it pass? Little boys testing the electric fence and may decide the sting is worth it to get the green stuff. It is normal. And I tell you something, actually, what happens is they get through the fence and they get on the grass and they start eating, and they, next thing you know, an hour or so later, they're back on their hay because I'm sick of that. That is what happens when they finally settle down. Not that I'm suggesting that you let them out. What do you do? Poo. Not you poo. I mean, I don't mean go and have a poo. Sorry. I mean your horse's poo. Gary, explain what I mean by that.
Instead of picking your horse's poo up, stick it under the fence. It will sour the ground. The grass that grows through it, they won't eat it. Simple. It saves you a lot of effort too. Just move it to the side.
Move it to the side.
Move it to the side.
Move the poo to the side.
Move the poo to the side.
Oh, it's not get right. Okay, so don't be not necessarily associating one thing with another. We have to be careful here that we're not associating one thing another, because other things can affect it, as like head shaking, like weather, a little bit of stress, not necessarily to do with the fact that he wants the grass. Don't try thinking that it might be one thing and it actually isn't that at all. So make sure that the environment that they're in and they're on track is an exciting one. How do you do that? Well, you make sure you put lots of piles around in lots of different places, and you don't have your track the same width all the way around. You narrow it in places, you make it bigger in places, you put rocks down, you put wood down, you dig a little hole that fills up with water that they can lay in. All of those things you can do without costing a lot of money. They might mean a bit of elbow grease, but they won't cost you a lot of money. Stick the bit of soil you dig out of the ground. Go and if somebody likes digging in your family, great. Otherwise, hire a digger. Dig a big hole, not too deep, of course, and the soil that you get out with it, make a mound. Get some old builder's rubble. Just make sure you take the sharp bits out. Get some old builder's rubble, get them to dump it in your field, on your track, cover that in soil. Before you know it, you've got a great mound. Stuff like that. Start enriching your environment. If you've just got a boring ring that just goes round, They may very well get bored. It's boredom rather than it's desperate for they're desperate for the grass. So start thinking a little bit laterally about it. Okay, Karen? Okay, Jeanette? How do you find the true apex of the
in
crop?
the early stages, when you're first putting the track up and you are restricting the grass, it's almost like they're going through withdrawal.
True.
And it happened to mine. I put the track up and then they'd break in and then I'd take them out and then I'd fix the fence and then they'd break in and then I'd take them out and then I'd fix the fence. And you end up doing that for a little while, but then eventually they don't want the grass. They're really not that bothered. It's about being quietly persistent and consistent.
And yeah, they will obviously they're going to eat grass. They will go and put their head down and go and eat grass if you get out, you go for a ride, but no more than they would do if they were eating grass anyway. You know, people say, "Oh, my horse wants," they don't. And you train your horse, right? If you're going for a ride and your horse is putting his head down, well, you've got to be the person who makes sure that you again train your horse so he doesn't do that every 5 minutes. And how do you do that? You entertain them. You entertain their brain, because when you're sat there on their backs, you're like, oh, I think I might just do a little bit of sideways across this lane, or sideways across the, see if he'll respond to my leg as we go sideways a little bit, two steps that way. Oh, I might just stop right now. A couple of steps back. And they're like, oh, what's she doing now? What's she doing now? What's she going to do now? And then we'll go for a nice big long trot, get to the top of the hill, or even a canter, because you can when you're barefoot, when you've got a balanced foot. Get to the top of the road, stop and go, do you know what? Chill out. You can have some herbage and have some grass now. There's always something more that you can do. There's always something more that you can do. Bonnie's here. Hi, Bonnie. Better late than never. Nice to see you. Therese says, lately I've seen a lot of hooves with high heels and very short toes. I've heard you talking about it, but didn't think it was that common. But almost every horse, almost every horse seems to get trimmed that way, and owners scratch their hair wondering why the horse is sore. I tell you, Therese, it's everywhere. It's a pandemic. It's absolutely everywhere. Totally is. Charlotte says, brilliant solution. That's the poo. I think that's the poo she's talking about. I found that I had very high power to my fences. Otherwise, Laura would always want to get out. Once she knew she couldn't, a grass desire stopped. A lot of it is boredom as well. And just because they are like that, just because, you know, it's like when you put a new bale out or a new pile of hay, they have to go and have a look at that as well, because that's what they do. No, sorry, I've not been able to eliminate all the grass on my tracks, so that's there is very stressed, but just keeps growing. Okay. Poo.
Cover it with poo.
Sprinkle your poo about, kick it around. They'll be like, what are you doing? Yeah. I want to eat that grass. No, you're not, because I'm going to kick poo all over it. And then they'll pee on it. If your grass is too wide or too long, then you'll never, if your track is too wide or too long, then you'll never keep on top of it. So it's just thinking a little bit laterally. Yes, I find with my cobs, grass versus hay, I let them into the middle recently just to give a brief respite from the mud. When they see me coming with the hay trolley, they leave the grass. It's true. They're like, ooh.
They need time to get used to it, though, to really know that, oh, my God, I feel amazing.
It is. Oh, it's Ruggles. Hi, Ruggles. Hello, I'm late. Did we touch on trims with osteonecrosis present? No. Were we meant to? Is that what we were going to talk about tonight? I can't remember. It's just a good job you've got a brain and a memory on you. Thanks. Think mine are defo getting a little bit bored. I will have a go at, think about enrichment. Really do think about enrichment. Placing the hay in different places, up, down, and around, right? Squire has done this in the last 2 days. I had to put electrofencing on the top and bottom of the perimeter fence. I was mucking out and I heard a bang and he took off with the clappers. Don't think he will try to get under the fence again. So because Squire at the moment has got that patch, it's not like it's not a complete circuit, is it? At the moment, he's got to go down to the gate. So make sure you put your hay and you water in one place, which I'm sure you're doing up at the yard probably, and then your hay dotted around. Job's a good one, but yeah, they are in grass grazing mode, right? He's like, what am I doing eating this hay? They will soon gradually, as they're, like I said to you, if you were watching the live the other day and I said to you, what happens when you go to the supermarket? You always
buy your favorite food.
You always buy your favorite food. Always. Then you might get a few extras if you've got, Jamie Oliver's new book or Delia Smith. I don't know if she's around anymore still. I don't know. And you might get some new things on your list, but usually it's the same stuff. Whatever you get in the morning, whatever your favorite snack is, it's usually the same stuff. And you think I'm being controlled. My brain is telling me that. No. Your gut microbes are telling your brain to tell you that. They're down there in the gut going, tell her, don't let her go past the cereal aisle because we're running out of cereal. We're nearly down to the bottom now. Can you tell her? Remind her to get it. Yes, I'll remind her. Thanks, microbes down in the gut. So you're controlled, right? So the horses are controlled. They are controlled by their body, which is going, grass, we need the sugar breaking down bacteria are still proliferating in there going, oh, remember us? Don't forget us. And the fiber breaking down bacteria are like, go away, tell them to run away. They're in a fight all the time in the gut until eventually the fiber breaking down bacteria start to proliferate more and more and more, and they settle down, and they just settle down. Bethan says, hi, Bethan. Bethan says, horses need horses. I used to be scared of a big herd, but in all honesty, I had more issues with squabbles with a smaller herd. Big herds are we love big herds. It's a massive fly flying around. Oh, it's gone. Big, absolutely. When we got above 3 or 4, it all changes. When Gary brought his 3 over to me, and they were on a similar system. Well, the same hay. They were eating the same hay. I know, Flopsy, get the fly. It's massive. They were on the same hay. They were on a track, but they still had just a few little issues going on, didn't they? They had a big stress because they'd lost a herd member. And then they came to live with my herd, and the moment they turned up, of course, everybody was moving a lot, and we've watched their feet change, haven't we, from that moment they turned up, and watched some extra little rings all grow out to the very, very bottom now, and what's above is just smoother hoof wall. So just 2 herds within a few hundred yards of each other where they lived, both on the same hay, different tracks, but pretty much kept the same. One herd my herd were doing better than Gary's herd, and then we put them together, and now they're all doing.
And now they're all doing the same.
Yeah, get it.
The bigger herd made a huge difference, and I think that is mainly down to movement. I think that was mainly down to movement.
Movement is...
Yes, I had a big track, but there wasn't enough movement because there wasn't enough horses.
Now, that's not to say that everybody that's got 2 horses or 3
needs to go out and buy more.
No, don't end up like us. But what you can do is think about that enrichment, because I know, Jeanette, you've got 2. So think about how can you make it more interesting for them, and don't put so many hay piles that there's one here and then there's 2 steps and then one here and then 2 steps. And not that I'm suggesting you are doing that. Flopsy's after the fly, my fly killer. But just think a little bit more laterally. Jenny says, our guys, 21 of them, have mixed species hay at lib 24/7, and they seem happy with the lifestyle and don't break through the electric fence for grass. Yes, they do sometimes get on their knees and stretch like a giraffe to get a nibble on the other side, but it's rare. Yeah.
They do settle down.
They do. That was funny the other day when you said your biome selects what you want. My mind went straight to the chocolate in the fridge. Has it done it again? Chocolate and Carol.
It's also the brain bits that actually says that there are certain foods that we eat that have been proven to be addictive.
Sorry.
That aren't necessarily what's good for us. Oh my god, that's a really good pose, Flops.
I do apologise.
That's a really good pose, Flops.
Flopsy is after a massive fly that is right above us on my light, and he is desperate to get it. This is Flops, by the way, everybody. This is my cat Flops. Hi, darling. Say hi to the viewers. Hello.
He says, "I want the fly."
Come on, baby. Oh, and he's called Flops because
he just flops.
He just flops. Go on over there.
So yes, when there are certain foods in the human diet that are addictive, sugar being one of them. Another is wheat. Another is dairy. So these things can be very addictive, but they can also be not always productive for our guts.
Absolutely. And
the same with horses. So the horses have got the lush green grass. Yes, they want it, but it's full of sugar. It's got virtually no fiber in it, and it's bad for them. So our brains can, and that sugar, because even though it's addictive, they get withdrawal.
And you do, right? What about when you go on a diet and you drastically
I had it when I went
diet, on don't you? And
I went carb free, and oh my god, did I end up turning into the most grumpiest person ever?
More than usual.
I was an absolute. I'm Mr. Smiley all the time. Yeah, so that stuff is we have to be careful of the stuff that is addictive, and horses and any animal are no different.
No, we're all the same. We all get addicted. So it's just a case of it will settle eventually. It will settle as their gut biome changes and settles down. It will.
Yeah.
Joe says, mine lived on tracks most of their lives. If I let them out on old brown grass, they come back and eat hay. Enrichment is so important. I'm so lucky to have 2 acres in tree lot. It's sexy as tree lot. Or sexy as tree lot horses love it. They spend days hunting for wee piles of hay I hide. Love it here in New Zealand. Oh God, that sounds lovely.
Sounds lovely.
Can't wait to visit. On the hay only diet, is it a good idea to collect and offer things like nettles, cleavers, hawthorn, willow? Oh yes. Is offering seaweed okay? Or will they get too much? No, offer it. They will take what they want.
Yeah, they'll take it if they need it.
Yeah. A lot of people
but don't
say
be surprised if they leave it.
Yeah, but don't be surprised if they leave it.
They might play with it, but then that's environment enrichment in itself.
And some of the ponies will eat it and some won't. And you know, we often hear, and I don't know whether this is just part of the whole leading to this ridiculous statement that was put out there that horses cannot, you know, they've got thick tongues, so they can't lick a salt block, or they can't get what they need out of a salt block. Well, they'll use the back of their tongue. I put up a little video of Daisy doing that the other day, and she'd just go lick, and then, or she was like lick, and then under the back of her tongue, because obviously there's a mucous membrane, so that's gonna get, you know, into your system quicker. But then you hear people say, I leave a salt mineral block out in the field and nobody touches it. Well, they don't need it. And they will need it at different times of the year. Now, interestingly, you said, didn't you, Gary, that when you were in the UK on different hay, and when the horses turned up, they had a little bit of weight on them, even though they were on track, and you said they didn't touch their salt lick.
No, they didn't have much salt at all. Back in the day, I'm going back a bit further, I fell into the trap of adding a certain amount of salt to a little bucket of chaff, and not one of my horses would eat it.
So what do people do then, Gary?
Oh, but then they say, oh, we'll have to put more stuff in it to make it taste nicer. disguise it. Well, I never went down that route. I thought, well, if they're going to want it, they're going to want it anyway. So I gave them different choices of different salt blocks, and they still didn't really want it. Sometimes when it got a bit hotter in the summer, they might have a little bit, but I was lucky if I replaced my salt blocks once a year, and it was more due to with whittling away in the weather than it was for the horses. But then when they moved to France, different hay, much warmer climate. I see my big Clydesdale warm blood mare. She's at the salt block. I nearly see her at the salt block every day.
And probably does, because we're not looking at them 24 hours.
No, that's right.
And there is always that as well. You know, you're not staring at your horse 24 hours a day, but people say they don't ever see any lick marks on it. Fair enough. And it's true.
It was a marked
depends on the environment
increase. And when I had I had 3, then 2, then 5, then back down to 3 again. Over that period of time, a 25 kilo block of salt would last me about 6 months. So that's quite significant. That's quite significant.
I replaced.
But they did it all themselves. It's not in a bucket.
No.
And there was no side effects or anything. There was everything was healthy. They know what to do.
And our organ systems, Dr. Slim Chan, our organ systems we're mammals, right? There's not a great deal of difference between us. They have less enzymes than we do. They're monogastric hindgut fermenters. We're not. We are omnivores. So there are some slight differences. Chemical processes are often the same, right? The processes of metabolism, catabolism, and anabolism, they're the same sort of things that go on. And what if we all know, and they're looking into diabetes mellitus now, and they're basically saying that's effectively one of the, that this is what horses are effectively suffering from. So they're doing more research on that. So why are we told not to have a lot of salt in our diet? Why are we told to be careful with salt? What's the one thing that we're told? There's there's various reasons, but there's one big reason why we are told to be careful. Pardon?
Blood pressure.
Hypertension.
Hypertension, yeah.
And guess what? Horses get hypertension. Oh, yes, they do. They get high blood pressure. So we're no different. And how do you know? It drives me mad when you get it written on the back of bag feeds, you get it written on supplements, and all these horses are in a vastly different. So Gary and I'm living in France. My horses need more salt, right? They're clearly taking more salt than they did when I used to live in the UK, although they took some then. I was in Cornwall, but Gary's aren't. But yet Gary and I read the same website, or we're on the same internet group, and we both read it and go, ooh, wait, good 10 milligrams or more, tablespoon, or whatever you've got. Table salt will do. Stick that in on top. I'm doing it. My horses don't need it, but I'm ignoring what they don't need because I just ignore it. And I'm just going to put that in the bowl. And they're not going to eat it because they don't want it. So I'm going to disguise it with stuff that they might want. And then Gary goes, oh yeah, I need it too. I'm going to put it in. I'm going to put salt in. And he's like, oh, okay. Do you see what I'm saying? We're all in different environments. And he could be feeding the same bag feed that I go and buy from the shop, because you can get so much online now, right? And then we're like, nobody from the supplement company or the feed company is critically assessing your variables for your horse. It is notoriously one of the worst cases or organisms in the world, equines, horses, where people do not assess the different variables. They do it in research. There are so many different variables, and they just kind of, which skew all results, and they don't look. You've got to think very logically about it. Offer the nettles, etc. That's absolute dead cert. My gut microbes still insist I need poos, so I've got it. Oh, cheers! Coffee. It's coffee. Oh, it looks like, was that an empty Jack Daniels you've got there?
Naughty, yeah, naughty. It only had water in it.
I'll bet. I'm going to replay this live to the hubby and say that my course instructors say I need a bigger herd for surrender. Oh no, don't do that. Well, that's how I'm going to pitch it.
Oh, we'll have a lynch mob after us. Another one.
We already have husbands after us all over the place. Or partners. So interesting herd, isn't it? I had 3, now 7, and offer agistment ponies. Do you know, I never used to know that word agistment, because we do not use that in the UK, do we? We don't use agistment. We use livery. But it's a funny word, agistment. I always think, where does that come from? Ponies come in my herd, settle and relax more. I love it so much. Horses feel safe in a big herd. Oh, it's the same with Bethan. Bethan finds that all the time. She's got a huge herd, and they need each other. Dear Wex, who she's rehabbing at the moment, who's doing very well, incidentally. Yes, Wex. Go Wex. Team Wex. He's doing so well. He's kind of fallen in love with the mare on the tracks. And so he's forgotten about his troubles. And he's like, I'm going to see the mare. I want to go see her. This is and he's displaying all these natural behaviors, these instinctual behaviors, which is so lovely to see, which were all in there. They've always been inside Wex, all those behaviors. They've always been there. Yet he was never allowed to express them, or he never did express them, because he spent his time in a traditional setting. And, you know, this happens to horses all the time. And then we wonder why they might have problems and ulcers and bad hoof care and issues. We wonder why our horses have problems when we take them away from what is normal and natural for them. Yeah. Can't wait to get my Shetlands with my 2 cobs to create a bigger herd as the Shetlands aren't moving. Yes, get them in there together. I didn't realize they weren't together. Oh yeah, because you were get them together. Mine are telling me G&T. Yes, your microbes are saying gin and tonic. Mine are saying lasagna, because Ash has just cooked me a vegan lasagna, and that's what mine are saying. I always listen to my gut and buy accordingly. Sometimes it cries out for potatoes or pasta, rice for veggies, fish, chips, chocolate, water, English food, Mediterranean food, Indian food. Always my gut tells me. Yeah, so it's constantly varied. Yeah, I tend to listen too. We're going out tonight, darling. I fancy a pizza. Flopsy. Oh yeah, that's all about flops. Sugar is discussed as the most dangerous drug, actually. Look how freakishly over the top they suddenly went about kids and sugar, right? And my partner, until a couple of years ago, or till a year ago, actually, was in advertising. Radio advertising. He was a radio producer, and they used to not just do radio advertising, but they used to do billboard advertising and advertising on the side of buses and advertising in the tubes and all of that sort of stuff as well. And it has changed so much now. They can't even have, you know, like if you're taking pictures of 2 ladies chatting together and the advert might be, I don't know, about perfume or about whatever. They cannot have a piece of cake sat on the table if they're in a cafe with a cup of coffee. They're not allowed. They're so careful now about food product placement. And in France, if you watch the TV in France, French TV, on every advert that has anything to do with food on it, they will put a warning sign at the bottom that it can, harm your health, and that you have to actually eat, your 5 a day. It's so changed. It just used to be cigarettes that they did that with, right? Not anymore. It's changing. And these companies that are producing these feeds for these horses that people have been conditioned to believe they need, it's coming. Yeah, it's coming. Therese says, I think I need to get a 3rd horse to get some more action between the fence posts. Oh dear. Don't blame it on us. Please don't blame it on us. That's a dirty 4-letter. What is? What was salt? The seasons are also changed when what my guts wants. Yeah. I've heard MSG is added to human food to make people addicted. Not sure how much that is true. I get I was going to say something awful then, and I stopped myself very, very fast. Public. If I eat Asian food, if I go out and eat Asian food, I get a migraine. Then, well, no, I don't get a migraine necessarily, but I get a headache the next day. Sometimes it can manifest itself into a migraine because of MSG. I have to be very as I've got older, I'm listening to my body, and as I've got older, I not only as I used to be rubbish, I sorted out my horse's diet well before I sorted out my diet. Well before. A lot of people get into going more natural with their animals after they have started to investigate a more natural lifestyle for themselves. Not me. I did it the other way around. I was bleating on about a more natural style for horses for years before I went, Lindsay, you really should practice what you preach and start listening to your own gut. So I have to be very careful. Does that stop me going out and having Asian food? No, but I do have to be careful. Bread, when I went largely, because I'm mostly gluten-free. Occasionally, if I go out in France, I can't be gluten-free and vegan. I mean, honestly, they just lose the nut over you. So occasionally, I'll have a biscuit or I have some bread. But when I went in before, the old Lindsay used to eat toast for breakfast. Always. I'd eat toast for breakfast. Then I'd have a sandwich for lunch. Then I might come home and I'm starving, waiting for my dinner. So I'll have some more toasts, particularly with butter and honey on, or syrup. That was my fave. Get off. Flops is doing some crazy things. And when I eventually went, I'm not having bread anymore, because I read a book called Wheat Belly, which is incredible, by the way. It's a top book recommendation by a preventative cardiologist. It's an absolute brilliant book. By what the hell's his name? Dr. William Davis is what he's called. I can recommend Wheat Belly. You want to find out about problems that we have in with your body? Read Wheat Belly, Dr. William Davis. Anyway, I went cold turkey and I stopped eating bread, and I didn't feel very well. I really didn't feel very well, and I craved it, and I was ratty, and I couldn't stop thinking about bread. And there's a reason for that, because wheat will preferentially bind to your opiate receptors in your brain. Go check it out. There's been research that's been done on it. And when wheat preferentially binds to your opiate receptors, then you end up feeling it's a true desire. It's not some. And so consequently, when you walk past a bread shop or you're in the supermarket and you smell bread, you go, oh, that's nice. I fancy a bit of that. That's your guts going, ooh, and your brain going, it's a fix. I've got to have a fix. And wheat is put in everything nowadays. And you're not telling me, because there's been tons and tons of research now, even taking it out of the diet, unethical research that they've done without people's, without having people sign forms. They've done it on people who have been institutions that they've had mental health issues, and they've split them into two groups. One that they've continued to feed a diet full of wheat and bread and all of that, and then another group that they've done this research, and they've become more ethical over the years, and another group where they'll remove wheat entirely, and the mental health symptoms begin to subside in the group where they remove the wheat. It's crazy. The world knows so much more than we are allowed to know, and wheat's in everything. It's even in soup. So I'm not just telling you to go out and stop your wheat intake, but read Wheat Belly. You might think, oh, it's a bit different. Oh, yes, I got it. How you got a pantry of recommended vitamin mineral balance or supplements? Have you got a pantry of recommended vitamins? I've just had 3 of our horses tested Simple Systems, Blue Bag, Amani, and Timothy Hayes Selenium, and all 3 came back lacking in every vitamin mineral count except the selenium, which we supplement now. Isn't that interesting? So what is going on there? If you are supplementing stuff, are we stopping our microbes from making the vitamins that they need to make? There's been lots of research on that too. Are we affecting the way that the vitamins are being absorbed? We just don't know. And there's another thing too, which we've spoken about before, and that's when your microbes, when you eat, when we all eat, but when horses eat their forage, it's not just the vitamins and the minerals that are coming in on their own. They're also coming in with other vitamins and minerals. And it's just a certain way that it's packaged because other phytochemicals are coming in with it. That has an impact. It's like rye. People go and test their ryegrass, and we've had nutritionists battle this out with us, but they're not going out on the road where we are doing what we're doing. And they will say, you can have some meadow grass that will test higher than ryegrass. So meadow grass will test higher than, let's say, 12 NSC, right? Non-structural carbohydrates, whereas rye might be lower. So you can feed, not all rye's bad. We get that a lot. Not all rye's bad. You shouldn't put rye in the same. But we know every single time we cut that rye out, because the horse won't be right, it'll have problems, the horse that's on rye. We had a lady in the group, Anne, I think. She's been feeding her pony ryegrass. She had it tested, and it was what she thought was low. Pony was laminitic. Pony still got problems. You cut that out, you can feed meadow grass that's higher, and it'll be better. So something else is going on, and it's not just to do with the sugars. It's the whole makeup of that ryegrass. That ryegrass has been heavily GM'd, right? Heavily. So that means that has affected the proteins and the gluten inside of that plant. You know, we're seeing a rise in celiac disease and a rise in Crohn's and all of those issues. It isn't just about the sugar. So it's so naive to just have nutritionists say it's all about sugar, and people obsess about it. So try stripping out all your vitamins and minerals and bag feeds and everything, and just feeding good mixed meadow hay and see what happens. Have them tested again, see what happens. What herbs do you recommend for a buffet? Now, that would be Gary's remit, but personally, I would say whatever Mother Nature is growing at the time.
Yep. We're just hitting spring in France, or we've been in spring for a little while, and every day I'm seeing the horses going around the hedgerows, and we've got a fairly diverse hedgerow. It's not all the same stuff. Cleavers, nettles, milk thistle, anything that generally whatever grows, and if they want it, they'll take it. And if you want to, cow parsley is another one. In the magazine, we have a lady that writes for us called Anne-Marie Punnett, and she ends up basically she has a track, but in the areas where the horses aren't, she grows herbs every year, herbs and plants and weeds and all of that, and she'll harvest some to give to the horses on the track, which is environment enrichment, and then she leaves some of it to reseed, so she's actually got some new stock for next year. All amazing stuff.
But
it's about what grows in your area. Yeah. That's what it's about. What grows in your part of the world. I can talk about the UK and France, but what's going to work for us is not necessarily going to work in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and America. So it's what's native to your area, because they'll all have a medicinal content, as well as micronutrients too. It becomes as a package. It becomes as a package.
So effectively, we should see ryegrass as being toxic. There is something about ryegrass that is toxic.
And let's face it, it's not very natural, is it?
No.
It's been genetically modified
to
make cattle really fat really quickly so they can go for meat, or to produce 3 times the amount of milk that the animal was designed to create in the first place.
I was only
having That's why rye was created. That's why rye was created.
I was only having that conversation with one of our students, our new students, called Tim Turner, who grew up on a farm. And the UK are now going back to the Holstein, the Friesian. Is that right? Yeah, the Friesian,
yeah. The
black and white, because they don't produce quite as much milk, but they can cope with carrying the milk that they have to carry in a day. There's just a better build. And I think did he say it was a Holstein cross? I can't remember, but a breed that's come in from Canada, I think he said. And he said they carry around these humongous amounts of milk between their legs, and it really harms them after a while. You know, it damages their back muscles, it damages their bodies. They really struggle, and that's all because the farmers are pumping into them not just rye, but also other feeds as well. And now they're realizing that, in fact, to the detriment of the animals. So now they're having to backtrack and go, holy hell, you know, we need to stop now and think more about the welfare of the cow, because at the end of the day, we're not going to get milk from all these animals otherwise, just at the yield that we want. Mine eat broom, willow, other branches. We have all this on my 7-acre tract. It's great, lovely. Sorry to add, as you know, I run a track in Dubai. Is that Jamie? So it's
yes.
Hi, Jamie. So it's just sand and little to none zero browsing hedges, etc. Now here's something that's interesting, because, and I'd like to ask you this, Jamie. Jamie Lemmers runs amazing track in Dubai, and you know, we hear, don't we? And I have owners saying this to me all the time. And I say, stick it in the arena, in your sand arena, and put the hay around. And they go, oh I'm worried my horse is going to get sand colic, because it's a thing, right? You know, when horses eat too much off the ground and it's too sandy. But we've never found horses that are fed naturally to actually exhibit that. But it is something that I know happens in North America. And again, it's down all the time. It's down to these animals not being fed species specifically. And that, you know, just thought I'd put that out there. Just thought that was interesting. My horses did not want a mineral lick in the UK, but they love it. They like it here in Czech. What about carrots and apples? They're full of sugar. Yeah, well, you don't feed them bags of carrot and my horses don't have bags of carrots and apples. But if I'm going to give them a treat for whatever reason, you know, sometimes we have to do things with them. Then, like, you know, we've got a new respiratory machine that we're testing out now. That's proving to be very, very good. We might use a couple of ends of carrots or something, but it's about moderation. Don't go out doing it every day, a bowl every day with a ton of carrots, ton of apples every day. It mounts up. It's cumulative, and they weren't designed to have it. We are told that they will not drink enough water, risk of colic, if we don't feed a certain amount of salt.
Poppycock.
I'm not going to tell you this.
You should see the amount of water.
I've got a good story about
our horses get through. Our horses, they'll get through 1,000 litres in just over a week.
Yeah, 1,000 litres a week.
Our horses, we get through 1,000 litres a week, and we've got 10 horses between us, or 10 equines between us, and some of them are minis. Some of them are minis. They're not all big horses.
I'll tell you a story one day, maybe, about molasses drinks, also to give electrolytes, etc., and how that can affect horses. And yeah, that's increases blood sugar. Oh, I'm way behind. I'm going to go back to the end.
Oh my God.
Lisa, it's affecting the cattle also. We used to get primarily Timothy broom and 10% alfalfa. Now it's rye, etc. 60% alfalfa. Oh yeah. Breeding cows for cow-calf operations are done by 7 years old. That's awful. You used to be able to keep a cow for a good 17 years. Also, foot rot is on the rise in cattle. It's awful, isn't it? Awful. This is meant to be a welfare world, and it's going downhill. It's getting worse. You only have to look at the poo that comes out of dairy cows. It's just diarrhea compared to cows that graze my local moorland that comes out in proper lumps. It's like sheep, you know. I lived in the middle of a sheep farm when I was in Cornwall, and they were for at least twice a year. I think twice a year they'd have once a year they'd have their fleeces done, but twice a year they'd have their bums done. So they'd come. What a job! They'd come and shave their bottoms because obviously they didn't want to have fly strike, and they'd all have their tails docked because they were all on this rich grass that surrounded us, 80 acres of rich grass, and they all had, you know, sloppy poo and it was horrible, and they used to get really mucky bums, so that's why they dock their tails. Yet you go up on the moors and in the Highlands, and you've got these, or on the top of Dartmoor, and they don't dock their tails because that poo isn't sloppy mucky poo. It's little pebbles like it's meant to be. So just think about those.
More fibrous.
The sheep, the lamb that people are eating is lamb from an animal that's not healthy. Their guts aren't healthy.
It's all right, but it's cheap.
Eh?
It's all right, but it's cheap.
Charlotte says, we are so cruel to animals. Galloways that make ice cream have a herd of cows who keep their calves with them, and they take milk from them, their cream. These cows live longer and healthier and produce less methane. I live between 3 dairy farms, and I hear the cows crying for their calf. I can't read that. It's awful, Charlotte. I hate it. It's funny, you know, not having a go, just saying, you know, when you go, I mean, personally, me, I'm vegan for 2 reasons: for health and for animal welfare. And so because of animal welfare, I felt that I had to try and be as much as vegan as I possibly can, because I feel that the dairy industry, in my mind, is worse than the meat industry. I think the dairy industry is worse. So if you're going vegetarian because of animals, then it's the dairy industry. It's horrible. It's you know, it's grim. Did I say that out loud on YouTube? I do apologize. Right, we're coming to the end now. I had my horse's equibiome tested. Therein lies insanity. Hawthorne Bramble Cleavers are out now. I did that testing back in 2018. Highly confusing, to be honest. The research hasn't really progressed. Yep, Rye's cattle feed, and we feed it to horses all the time. Have you talked about the senior horses with compromised mastication in regards to just feeding hay? We have in the past. We touch on it quite a bit, and it's a problem, right? If your horse is losing their teeth so they can't eat hay, Flopsy, do you mind getting out of the way? You know, if they were out in the wild, being wild is not easy. Being a wild animal is really not easy, because you're either going to get eaten or you're going to starve to death. Usually that's what tends to happen, or you're going to be damaged in a fight. So they would naturally just die in the wild, sadly. So in our world, we keep them alive, obviously, and so therefore we've got to think a little bit laterally about how we feed them. And chaffs, sloppy chaffs, you know, you try dry chaff to start, or chop your own, get a chaff maker. We were talking about that the other day. Make up your own chaff, see if they can eat it, if it's been chopped softer and chopped down to smaller pieces. If that doesn't then work, then you've got to start going down the sloppy food route. But it's always fiber based, and don't get drawn in to adding 101 different extras, and accept the fact that your horse is going to lose weight and is going to be skinny. We should not have fat old horses. Imagine that on your joints. Think about it. Right, guys. Yep. Yes. Okay, so we didn't talk about, what was the thing we were going to talk about?
Ringbone.
Ringbone. We didn't talk about that.
And osteonecrosis. There was a lady that mentioned osteonecrosis.
Okay, well, we will remind me and we'll talk about bones. We'll get into, we'll put up an image on the screen on Monday, and we'll look at joint arthritis. Should we do that? That'd be fun, wouldn't it? Let's look at joint arthritis. And tomorrow night, and we're a bit late telling you all this, but if you have done the 15-day challenge, you don't have to have done the 10-day challenge. But if you've done the 15-day challenge and you're on the challenge, we are going to hold a private session for challengers, hoof heroes or budding hoof heroes if they're on the 15-day challenge. Some Saturdays a month. We don't know yet how many. Maybe 1, maybe 2. We don't know. So tomorrow evening, our time, same time as we normally go live, we're holding a private session. If you have done the 15-day challenge and you want to come on that session, we don't know what we're going to talk about. Your horses, actually, is what we plan on talking about. You know, you can just sit there. If you'll be, you know, you might just turn up and want to listen to what other people say, but we're more than happy. If you want to bring photos of your horses along, you want to bring photos of your horse's feet. We can't guarantee, depending on how many people are going to be in it, we can't guarantee we'll get through everybody, but we might at least get to be able to see something. So we will, what we're going to do, Gary, put the link up so people can register. You will have to register and we will monitor, sadly, who you are, to check that you are on the challenge, because this is a private session for our challenge people. So if you want to be on it, get on a challenge is the answer to that one. All right, my lovelies, we're off. I'm going to go and eat my lasagna because I'm hungry. Top Tip, Wheat Belly by Dr. William Davis is the book I would recommend. Go get it. Go read it. And we'll see you in the group. And on Monday, because we're not doing one on Sunday, that's our day off. We've decided we're having a day off. We'll see you Monday if we don't see you tomorrow. Bye-bye now. Bye.